We're getting ready for Ravens Chargers coming up Monday night in LA. Our next guest, of course, is a Ravens legend, and I am to understand he actually had a cup of coffee with the Chargers as well. He is the host of the BLeav in Chargers podcast. He is the great Lorenzo Neal, and he's with us now here on GCR. Lo, it's Glenn. It's great to catch up, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Oh, no worries. Thanks for having me, man. It's interesting. Both these two teams I love a lot and love both men that are coaching both of these fine organizations. It's just a great – anytime you get the Harbaugh Bowl, you know you're going to see a tough physical game, and it can go either way. But, I love my time in Baltimore. My goodness, AFC championship game. God, that was the hardest hitting football game I think ever played in. But
we try to forget about it.
Baltimore, that was it. I still have nightmares. Ask Willie McGahee. But great times there in Baltimore. Love the Chargers as well. This is two teams that are equally matched, and both these teams are going to get after it.
So how do you best explain, right, like what it is that Jim has brought to the Chargers? How has he maybe changed the culture there, both kind of on and off the field?
Yeah, I think you guys know the similarity of these two guys. I mean, look at Gus and look at Dobbins. Look what the Chargers went out and did. They went out and got Jim's guys. They went out and got John's guys. They went out and took the GM. They took OCs, DCs. So you understand how this thing is built. Both these men, they think a lot alike, and they want to build tough physical teams.
So tell me, Lo, because I feel like this has actually gotten an even better version of Justin Herbert, right? And the Greg Roman offense is not typically thought of as like the offense that gets the best out of your quarterback, but we acknowledge that Lamar Jackson was MVP in 2019 and looked great, but we think of Greg Roman and running the ball. What has that done for Justin Herbert and the version of him that we have seen this season?
Yeah, I think Justin has become a far better runner under Greg Roman. You can just kind of see the maturity of him running the ball, when to get down, taking what the defense is giving. He just looks comfortable in his arm. I mean, this guy can throw the ball, can throw it any place, can throw it on the dime. They really starting to feel himself. And it's great because now you're starting to see McConkey and other receivers start to become comfortable. This team started off this year struggling, especially on offense, but that's because they had no really veterans or seasoned receivers. And so now you look at them, they're cooking in Crisco with the receiver position.
He is the great Lorenzo Neal. He is with us on GCRs. We're getting ready for Ravens Chargers on Monday. Lo, what makes this Chargers team so dangerous is they're doing all that, and they have this really good defense. And Derwin James, obviously, and Joey Bosa are household names, but it feels like it's even more than that they're doing on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, they really are. And you watch the defense and the way that these guys are playing. And Khalil Mack, we don't know for sure if he's going to play Monday night. He's been, kind of dealing with some injuries. But you watch the other guys put them forward in the middle, and other guys that just on the pass rushers. They're keeping everything in front of them. They're playing really solid football. And that's just kind of how they're built. They bend to don't break. Do you know the Chargers, if you think about it, after 9 games, this team would be, after 10 games, this team would be 9-1. The only game they would have lost would have been to the Cincinnati Bengals if they would have just scored 21 points. If the Chargers scored 21 points in all their games this year, the only loss would have been last week against the Cincinnati Bengals.
That's wild.
That's how good their defense is.
That is wild, right? And obviously the Ravens know a thing or two about the battles with the Bengals, and that one proved to be crazy on Sunday night. Look, I guess that's the question, right? Because I think early on people were like, okay, well the Chargers are winning, but they're beating bad teams, right? And I guess the Broncos we now throw in and we accept that's a good team, clearly. But this test, are they ready for? And you can maybe joke about whether the Ravens are ready for this test after what they did against the Steelers. But are they ready to beat the best teams in the NFL and make maybe a deep run into the playoffs?
Yeah, I got Buffalo on the line. To say something about that. If Baltimore is the best team in the league, I think that Baltimore is top 2-3 teams in the league. I just think when you watch the Chargers, they were tied with the Steelers, and guys got hurt. You lost both your tackles. Derwin was out. You had certain guys wasn't able to play. So when you think about this team, and it was a very good competitive game against the Steelers, it's a good team. But the biggest thing about the Chargers now, you have a healthy Justin Herbert who's now hurting teams with his legs. You have receivers now that are starting to get on the same page. You have Will Dissly, who wasn't a pass-catching tight end, but Herbert has made him elevate his game because he has to. So when you think about this offense, it wasn't never the defense like you alluded to. It's been the offense, and I think the offense now is just starting to put it together. So I think this Charger team is poised to make a push, and they're going to be right there at the end of this thing, battling for it.
All right, Lorenzo, what is should we expect like all of the stops to be pulled out? John and Jim Harbaugh faced each other twice as head coaches, and John's got the better of it both times. Should we expect that like Jim is going to the back of the playbook, that we might see like 5 fake punts, double reverses, stuff like that in order for him to finally pull out the win over his older brother?
Yeah, you know what? I don't think they'll get caught up in that. It's going to be like, I think that's the reason why to just stay consistent. Both these two teams are going to be physical. Both these two teams can get after it on defense. And, Lamar Jackson's league MVP and the things that he brings to the table. This is just going to be a hard fight-fought game. And I just think this game can go either way. Maybe the team with the ball last wins this ball game because both these teams are going to get after it, especially you look at Lamar Jackson. On Monday night, I think he's only got 4 losses, 13-4. You think about them, how they play after a game, just the way that they're going to, after letting the Steelers team beat them when they had the Steelers look like they should have won that game. So you're going to see a great competitive game this Monday night.
Can you tell me a little bit about, like, for guys like J.K. Dobbins, who I am a number one fan of J.K. Dobbins, right? Like, look, Derrick Henry's working out great in Baltimore. I'm not going to complain about it, but I love J.K. Dobbins, and it was just heartbreaking to see everything that he went through. For those guys, what it means to face your former team, we just saw it with Patrick Queen a week ago. Do we make too much of that, or given how many of them are there, like that could be a bigger storyline and what this means to them going into this week?
Oh, both teams. If you look at the Ravens went out and brought in an ex-Charger player, Ben Lowe. Look at the way he's playing. So I think all these guys want to win because they want to say, hey, soldier, we beat you. I played on several different teams, and I couldn't wait. With Cincinnati Bengals, I couldn't wait to play the Tennessee Titans to find a way to beat them. When I was in Baltimore on the Ravens, I couldn't wait to play against the Tennessee Titans, and we ended up winning that game, knocking them out of the playoffs.
That's right.
So absolutely there's some little extra added incentives for you to play well in those games.
Matt Stover kicking the field goal at the end, the legend himself. Look, with all that in mind, because I brought up J.K., right? What he has become, how he's been able to put it all together in a healthy season this year. What do you describe what he's been able to bring? Because he truly looks like a star this season in L.A.
He just runs hard. He just continues to try to get better. You watch both that two-headed monster. These guys they're getting better, and they're playing really hard, and they're really doing a great job. Hang on a sec, please.
You're good, man. We're chatting with Lorenzo Neal here on GCRs. We're getting ready for Ravens-Steelers on Monday night, of course. Former Ravens fullback and one of the great fullbacks in the history of football, and now part of the BLeav in Chargers podcast with Matt Money Smith.
Yes.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, me and Matt, we do have a great show, BLeav in the Chargers. We love it. I just think that both these running backs, both come from Baltimore, and both they're playing with their bravado. But I just think that this is just going to be a great matchup because you got two teams. You got to realize these are two teams top 5 in the AFC. These are two top 5 teams. If you look at, Kansas City, you got to talk about Kansas City because they're Kansas City.
Of course.
Buffalo, and then you got to say, hey, the Baltimore Ravens and the Chargers, Denver's in it. So these two teams are going to go at it. This is going to be a hell of a game. I just can't wait because just everything that's riding on this. It's a Monday night. The Ravens just came off a big loss, had an opportunity to win that game. Tucker was, one of the best, or not arguably the greatest kicker of all time, had a very difficult day. So this is a redemption game. There's a lot riding on this game. Monday night, the brothers going at it, the Harbaugh Bowl. This is going to be a drag-out sock'em going after it football game.
Can I ask, because you brought up Justin Tucker, what does it do for a team when you're worried about that? Like, it's been a long time in Baltimore since we've had to worry about a kicker. So, it's been decades. What does it do to an entire team when you're not sure? Like, what your thought process, what kind of impact does that have on a team when you're going through it?
It puts a little pressure on you because now offensively, we can't leave it to the kicker. we got to try to get in the end zone. So sometimes it can put some undue and unjust pressure on your offense because you're trying to score and you're not thinking, okay, look, we have a good enough guy. And this guy, he's a legend. He's going to get it together. I mean, I've been on that same end, and I think you can go back and think about some recall. We had a phenomenal, great kicker, and he choked against you guys. And I was with the Tennessee Titans, and
Yep.
Al Del Greco.
Yep, that's right.
Al Del Greco.
That's right.
Do you remember those?
Yep.
He was money, Mr. Automatic inside 30, 40 yards. I mean, the guy, what a legendary type of kicker, choked. And we knew going into that game, the winner of the Titans and the Baltimore Ravens were going to win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And you see, after Baltimore got past us, it was a cakewalk to the Super Bowl. That was the Super Bowl that night, that day.
That's a great point, man. That's a really, really good point. Those are fond memories that we have, unlike that 2008 championship game. We don't like to talk about that one. Hey, before, if I could, just because, the John Harbaugh side of things, the guy that you got to know in his first season, right? How do you explain how he's been able to stay to this point? Because this is not a league in which typically coaches last. And, it was ironic that we saw John and Mike Tomlin last week, and unfortunately Mike Tomlin's gotten the better end of that a little bit recently. But how do you explain how that guy that you saw that season has been able to last as long as he has and find the success that he's had in this league?
Because they're both with great organizations. The Steelers, how many coaches have they had in their whole history?
3,
Think
right?
about that.
Yeah, right.
And look at the Ravens. They stick with the guy. If you don't just stink it up, if you stay above 500, why fire a coach that's taking you to AFC championships, that's getting you to the playoffs, that's won you a Super Bowl, that's been to AFC championships as a rookie coach? The reason why he's able to do that is because you know what you're getting from the start. He's fair. He's honest. He's a great man. They're a great family. But look at his character. Look at his family. Look at his mom. Look at his dad. You think about why these guys will follow them and run through a wall for them, because they're going to hold you accountable. These Harbaugh brothers, they will hold you accountable. They'll love on you when they need to love on you, but they ain't going to let you get away with it. They want guys that's going to show up. I remember when being in Baltimore the first year, and Ray and Ed Reed, locker rooms kind of, you have extra lockers, and it's all cool. So Ray and Ed, they have 2 lockers. I think the kicker did too. What was our kicker at that time?
Matt Stover. Yep.
Yeah, Stover's a great dude. And so they all had 2 lockers. No big deal. Harbaugh, as rookie coach, have the galls, have enough gall to go to those guys and say, look, guys, I want everyone to feel that they're on the same page. Not that you guys couldn't, or not that you haven't earned this locker space and this, but hey, it says something. You know what all those guys did? They bought in. Eddie, they gave up their, Ray gave up his. Ed gave up his. They said, okay, we'll just go with 1 locker. Even though that next locker was empty, they bought into what Harbaugh was doing. So that's why he's had so much success, because he's going to tell you no matter what, whether you're the best or you're not the best, he's going to be consistent, and he's going to treat everyone fair.
It's great stuff, man. Lo, what's going on? You were always one of the most fascinating cats, right? Like, you just always seem to be involved with everything, dude, and I love chatting with you because of it. What else you got going on in your world these days?
Yeah, you know what? God is good, man. I'm so blessed. We're all so blessed that we're above ground. I'm happy Thanksgiving week. To start off our Thanksgiving week, we got the Ravens and Chargers. And just, man, be sure to tell everyone that you love them. We have so much to be thankful for. We live in the greatest country ever. We have our family, and you have your health and your life and your strength. And we got to start slowing down, taking time to tell people that means something to you, that you love them, and give more love. That's what the world needs. We live in a world that's constantly changing, and people want to express themselves. There's nothing wrong with that. But the world needs more love, and we need more Jesus, more God in our life. That's what I'm about, man. It's about getting older. It's about serving and helping others. And that's what I would love to do.
Lo, I'm thankful for you and the time that you spent with us, man, and all the conversations we've had over the years. Always appreciate you, brother. Thank you for doing this, and looking forward to a great one on Monday night.
No worries. Cheers. Let's do it again. Let's go. Let's see what happens tonight. Both teams I love, and I'll tell you what, tonight the best team wins.